10 years ago, it was christened with a touring car race, and for a time it was the home of the Australian 500cc Motorcycle Grand Prix. Today it plays host to round 4 of the Shell Championship Series. Hello, I'm Greg Rust and welcome to Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway. We're around about 30 kilometres west of the Sydney CBD. An absolutely glorious day here, not a cloud in the sky, and we're set for a marvellous afternoon of V8 Supercar racing. We revert to this round to the traditional 3-race format. Let's take a look at the championship point score for you. And right now, it looks like this. Garth Tander on top of the points, 422 from Mark Scaife after that Adelaide effort, just 54 points in arrears. Defending champion Craig Lowndes' 5th engine problems forced him out of the second race at the Island and the Clipsal 500, and that cost him a lot of points. Paul Radicic continues to be the best of the Blue Oval Brigade. Well, Barry Sheen, have you ever seen such a great crowd as we've seen here at Eastern Creek? They're already rolling through the doors.
Totally amazing. I mean, the crowd is sort of 10 deep to try and get through the turnstiles and that. The traffic is back. I think it'd be the biggest crowd at Eastern Creek ever. Now, we're expecting some changes as we work towards the next round at Hidden Valley. Yeah, the parity committee have come up in their wisdom with to slow the HRT down. What they're going to do is take 100 millimetres off the front tray underneath the car. I don't want to get complicated about it, but the silly thing about it is, Greg, what it's going to do, it's going to slow all, if it works, it's going to slow all the Holdens down, so you get like the Kmart team of Murphy and Richards that really need all the help they can get. What they should do really is say, okay, the only Holdens we want to slow down are HRT, so why don't they penalise them with some weight? You know, whack 30 kilos of lead in it. If that doesn't work, whack 40 kilos in until it brings it down to the same speed as everybody else. Then when they get beaten, take some of the weight out. That way, at least it's fair. But as it stands, penalising the Kmart team, the Perkins, etc., it's not the way of doing it.
There you go, one vote for the lead trophy system. Well, it's Mark Scaife's 100th championship start here this weekend, and he's doing it in fine style as well. He's qualified on pole position, just alongside him teammate Craig Lowndes, so an all HRT front row. Series leader Garth Tander and a resurgent Russell Ingall are on row 2. Tony Longhurst has done a good job to be on the 3rd row in a Ford alongside Paul Radicic. Another standout for young lion Todd Kelly. He'll start from grid position 9. And as you can see, a disappointing qualifying session for Bathurst winners Greg Murphy and Stephen Richards. Stephen Johnson also not a happy camper at the end of that qualifying session. Right now, though, Mark Osler is with the fastest of the drivers here at Eastern Creek.
Well, in his long and successful career, you could say that Mark Scaife's had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Eastern Creek. Back in 1995, he had a terrible accident here that put him out for quite a number of weeks. But since then, it's been a fantastic place for him. Dominant here in 1999, and it looks like in 2000, Mark, continuing that form. This place is pretty good to you now.
It has been, Mark. I mean, it's been a bit ordinary early in the 90s, but I mean, we've won a couple of times here, and it's a place that I really like. It's really fast. It's like Phillip Island, and you know, it's a place that you have sort of happy memories about, really, other than firing the fence once.
Was it tough getting a fast lap out of the car here in qualifying? That was a brilliant lap yesterday.
Yeah, look, it was. I mean, it's a place that if you're really committed and you're really on the edge of disaster everywhere, you get a good reward, and that's the good circuits. And certainly it's very easy just to make a little mistake and probably dump 3 or 4 tenths of a second. So look, I was really enjoying it. It was one of those laps you get away with every now and then.
Now, regardless of pole position, a front row start here obviously critical.
Oh, certainly. I mean, any of the sprint rounds, qualifying is important, and if we can just sneak the car away today, we'll be okay.
Best of luck today.
Thank you.
A pretty happy Mark Scaife, and why wouldn't he be after winning the round last year? Can he do it in 2000? Let's take a closer look at the circuit for you, and it's just shy of 4 k's in length and characterised by that 1 kilometre long main straight. A real mixture of corners from the sweeper at turn 1 to the hairpins like turns 9 and turn 2. But to show you the quick way around the creek, here's Neil Crompton with a Ford inside line.
All just about in readiness for a start.
Look at the enforcer sitting up there,
yeah,
in 4th position. He's had a very strong qualifying run. He's way down in the points, so he's got nothing to lose. 11th in the point standings. We get the green flag.
We get set to go racing here at the creek. The first of 3 13-lappers for round 4 of the Shell Championship Series. Will it be Lowndes or will it be Scaife, or will we see the likes of Russell Ingall charge through? We are underway, and it's green. A great start by Tander. A drag race between the Holden Racing teammates down into turn 1 for the first time. Scaife's got the inside running.
Radicic, good start.
Yeah, terrific start by Radicic. They sweep through the fast left-hander turn 1, and it looks as though at this stage they're all through there fairly cleanly. And now down towards turn 2. Scaife's got the upper hand. Look at Tander on the outside having a run. Lowndes is up there as well. Big field. And luckily no incidents so far, which is a surprise. Tander sits there in 3rd place behind
the defending series champion, Craig Lowndes, who covers his line. Down into turn 4, but your leader is Mark Scaife, so it's Scaife from Lowndes. We go back to third, and it's Tander. Ingles up there, so too Radicic. Radicic in between, in fact.
Yeah, Russell Ingall will be kicking himself there. He's ahead of Radicic on the grid. The car just bogged down a little bit. He finds himself in behind the Shell Ford.
Yeah, it looked like he was getting a lot of wheel spin, Mark. He was sitting out there smoking and going nowhere.
So the order at the moment, Scaife using his pole position to advantage. Lowndes and Scaife got away equally well, but Scaife being on the inside, that's where you wanted to be for that swing through turn 1, so he took maximum advantage of that. Leads him down through turn 9. Lowndes in behind him. Garth Tander in third position. Radicic in the first of the Fords in fourth. Then it's back to Ingall in the first of the FTR Falcons.
We saw Glenn Seaton getting his rear left off into the dirt there on the exit of turn 9. He's really trying, and the reason for that, he's under pressure from John Bowe, who sits just in behind him. Here is your race leader, Mark Scaife, the pole sitter from teammate Craig Lowndes. Tander in third place, then it's Radicic. A great start. He's already moved up one position from his qualifying point, if you like, and is now in fourth place ahead of Ingall, Seaton, Bowe. Then it's Kelly. We've got problems there for Steve Reed. That's on the exit of turn 12, coming onto the front straight. They sweep again through turn 1. The Holden Racing team have assumed command.
Yeah, its position's normal. Still Mark Scaife dominant here, and indeed his teammate Craig Lowndes last year.
Now Jason Barguana's coming into the pit, so there's some sort of problem there for the second of the Valvoline Cummins Commodores. Not quite sure what happened. We'll try and get a replay of that for you and have a look, possibly also at what happened to Steve Reed.
Oh, yes, it's a bit of a touch there. He got turned round by, who's that, Stephen Ellery? Yeah, it is, Stephen Ellery. Yeah, just a little tap on the inside left, and that's what happens.
Down in pit lane there is Bargs, and that is obviously terminal. The youngster is out of the car, and that is not a good way to start his day when you consider, Mark, that he finished in third place in the second race of the Clipsal 500, so he was on a high coming into this round.
The Valvoline Cummins cars from the Gary Rogers stable have always been very reliable, so that's a surprising out for Jason Barguana, and unfortunately that puts him right at the back of the grid for the start of Heat 2. This is looking out the back of the Shell Helix number 18 Falcon of Paul Radicic.
Yeah, it seems to accelerate really good, that thing of Radicic is pulling away, comes out and came out of the hairpin really nice.
Oh, McDougall!
Dear me, what's going on there? Looked like, oh, it is smoke. I thought it looked like steam to start off with.
Not quite sure where the circuit that is. We might have a replay of that coming up in a minute, but a bit of problem for the Pepsi Commodore. Stranded out there on the track, but the order continues. Scaife, Lowndes, Tander, Radicic, Ingall, Glenn Seaton, John Bowe back in 7th, Tony Longhurst, Neil Crompton and Craig Baird in the Pertec Falcon. Rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, the front three are pulling away from just fractionally from Radicic now, by the looks of it.
Now this could be interesting because the officials are having difficulty moving Dougal McDougall's Pepsi Commodore from turn 9 where he has spun, and he's been unable to restart that car. Now these guys are currently at turn 4 on the circuit, so they will be in that vicinity of the track very, very quickly. There is Garth Tander sitting in third place at the moment.
Well, they'll have, if they can't move it, they'll have the yellow flags out, and obviously when the flags are not allowed to pass or anything, so we'll have to wait and see when they get there.
Fastest lap so far for Mark Scaife, a 1:33.56 for the Holden Racing team driver. That's still a long way away from the lap record, though, a 1:31.75 set by Craig Lowndes.
They come down to turn 9 here, Mark. This is where McDougall's car is parked. They're waving the yellow flag
out of the way
just in time, in the nick of time, the officials, so that's good work. Scaife continues to lead from Lowndes. Then it's Tander, and a bit of a gap back to fourth place now to Paul Radicic. Let's check out the Shell Helix replay.
Oh, what's this? This is... no, that's it. Oh, that's Steve Richards. A little bit of a tap there by the looks of it. Oh, Richards did well to hang on to it.
Now that's a separate incident because it's at turn 4. This is down at turn 9.
Yeah.
Now there's been contact there.
Yeah, just... Oh, look at the
I think that was Stephen Richards again.
Yeah, I think it was actually.
So those two blokes were trading blows all the way around that track. Unfortunately, McDougall's come off second best. And we hear from the pits that the reason for Jason Barguana's retirement was another collision with Stephen Richards. Apparently bent the steering arm on the Valvoline Cummins car, so that's why he's had to retire. So Stephen Richards has really been in the wars in the opening laps.
He's fired up. The word too is that McDougall's car can't be restarted for whatever reason, so that will be parked Off to the edge of turn 9 for the remainder of this race. There's your race score. Scape leads from Lowndes, Tander and Radicic. We go back, Ingles, Seaton, Bow and Longhurst. Brad Jones on screen here, fighting away with John Faulkner.
Yeah, going well.
He was in the wars yesterday. Faulkner had a bit of an altercation very late in the session with Russell Ingall. Not only did they trade blows on the circuit, but they traded words off the circuit as well.
It'd be interesting to see if anything happens. If there was Stephen Richards at 2 bangs and another bang with barbed wire, it'd be interesting to see if the officialdom is consistent. You know, it's been pretty good this year, and they've penalised a few people, and it'd be interesting. I suppose they'd be wanting to have a look at our footage, aren't they?
It was the miracle story of the season so far. The resurrection of the Aussie male Falcon of Brad Jones. Anyone who caught that horrific accident he had at Adelaide, to see the car ended up on its roof, very heavily damaged. The boys have been working flat out to get it back in race trim.
Oh, Bradley sits so close, doesn't he? Look. Idea how quick it is. So that's the fast left-hander at the end of the straight. Coming to a hairpin.
Brad at the moment, for those of you possibly from Albury that are following his progress, which is where he hails from, in 13th place at the moment in the Aussie Male Falcon, which is a fantastic effort. The team, by their own admission, have worked so hard at repairing this car, worked day and night to do it, and they've had a couple of testing days at Winton trying to get it right. They thought they had a good package and they came here, and all the data they'd acquired they virtually had to throw out the window. They said it was virtually a pig. It was handling terribly during the course of practice and qualifying, but obviously they've struck a chord, Higgs. It's going very well.
The trouble is for these teams that are trying to find their feet in the most competitive formula in Australia, under the regulations at the moment, no team is allowed more than 12 test days during the year.
They've already used up half of them.
Well, I was going to say that may be fine for an established team, but when you're coming in right behind the 8 ball like these guys, they've already used up 6 test days. They've got a hell of a lot of data they've got to try and collect to catch up. And it really is very difficult for these new teams to get a foothold.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. When you consider the database that HRT's working from, then you take the other extreme, Brad Jones. It's not fair, it really isn't.
You bear in mind there too, Barry, that this car is an ex-Tony Longhurst Falcon, and Brad and Tony have very different driving styles. So any data, if they did acquire it from Tony, is probably of not too much value to Brad, and they've been working at trying to get a package that works well for Bradley. Right now, Scape leads. There is your Munro driver profile, your pole sitter here, Mark Scape, the 33-year-old from Melbourne. Of course, a memorable victory in the second race of the Clipsal 500.
No, I was just saying they're pulling away from Radicic. It looks a little bit like Radicic is holding Ingler.
2.6 seconds the gap back to the Shell Ford. So this leading trio, we've seen it all year. Two Holden Racing Team Commodores and Garth Tander, they're the dominant force in 2000.
I bet old Russell will be kicking himself that he didn't get a good start.
Well, it is difficult around this track, a lot of constant radius corners, and we do see that quite often when the cars get locked up in this train. Quite difficult to overtake.
Well, Russell said yesterday during the course of the Meet the Drivers briefing that he's got nothing to lose. He's languishing in 11th place in the championship, and right now he's going very hard. Mark Poole, I should say, in the John Deere Commodore, having a brief off down at turn 4. Let's check him out on your Shell Helix race score. Mark Scape and Craig Lowndes. Holden's running 1, 2 and 3 on the road in race 1 of the 4th round of the Shell Championship Series. Scape, Lowndes and Tander, they are your top 3. Those of you following Mark Larkham's just how well he's going, I should say. He's had a bit of trouble, has been in for a stop-go penalty and just gone back out again.
Yeah, Holden Racing Team opening up. Let's have a look at the replay, Baz.
Oh, that's poor Will. Well, basically just lost it in the story. Nothing to it. That's a shame for him because he's been really going very well this year and has done a lot.
Yeah, he's shown a bit of speed on occasions. Yeah. But this is where the real speed is.
You look at the back end of Lowndes' car, it looks it's a lot looser than Scafie's car.
Yeah, these two drivers set their cars up quite differently. I know Craig likes a softer setup than Mark Scape, and the car really does move around an awful lot on the road.
Problems also for Greg Murphy, the Kmart Racing Commodore. He's just come into the pits, so all that hard work. He was in position 13 in the Kmart Commodore. Not quite sure what happened. Now, we're being told that the officials are going through and having a good close look at the start, so it seems that these stop-go penalties that Larkham copped and And Murphy's now copping could be related to jumping the start, which is very easy to do, I must say, here, because you tend to roll down. There's slight sort of inclination on the start-finish line here.
I was going to say, it might explain Murphy going from 18th to 11th.
Oh, that's very unfair. That's right.
We did make a sensational start, so maybe it was too sensational as far as the officials are concerned. They're very, very tough on jump starts.
It's a nice
V8 Supercar.
Freight train of Fords, a Seaton, Bow, Longhurst, Crompton and Baird all together.
Tell you what, Paul Morris is doing a good job there. He started out of position 27 and has moved up to 16th, I think it is at the moment, in the Big Kev Racing Commodore. In fact, 17th it is that he is on the road. Now they were having some... look at this, down the inside of Stephen Johnson.
Oh, they're going to fight about it, but they did actually touch.
Yes, they did.
Coming through turn 9, now Cameron McConville takes advantage of that. Stephen Johnson fighting back, though.
Well, at least they seem to have sorted Cameron's car out now. It was misfiring, getting over, as soon as it went over 5,000, under any kind of, oh, it looked a bit tight. Yeah, as soon as it got over 5,000, the thing kept cutting out and misfiring, so they had to change virtually everything because they didn't know what it was.
Well, Stephen Johnson's doing a terrific job so far, considering it's his rookie Shell Championship Series season, doing a full season. He has competed before in the odd round or two, but this is the first time he's launched a full campaign. He's currently 6th in the points.
I asked Stephen how he got the nerve trapped in his shoulder. He said lifting.
Look at this down the inside. Rodney Forbes having a go. Cameron McConville as well. 3 wide down into turn 2. Oh, goodness, that was going to end in tears, and luckily it hasn't. And Forbes is the man who's profited from all that. A bit of a touch.
Did well to hang on to that, didn't he?
Oh, Greg Murphy gets the short back and sides. I mean, Rodney Forbes gets the short back and sides. That was very tough stuff.
Dear.
Oh, here we go. Anthony Tratt.
Problems there in the Toll Falcon, and he's slowing down. Looks like it's on the exit of turn 12. In fact, now these two are off again. Look at McConville and Forbes. So they're not giving up. Cameron McConville, the 26-year-old from Victoria, former Australian Formula 4 champion, did it in 1992. Rodney Forbes finished 2nd in last year's Privateers Championship in the V8s, and this year a level 1 driver in the Wins-backed Commodore. Look at this down the inside at turn 9. McConville has another look. These two are going at it absolutely hammer and tong.
Cameron McConville, it's an important round for him in the championship with 3 laps remaining for our race leader. 26-year-old Victorian, right back in the points, 25th in the order so far.
Steve Johnson's lost his wing mirror, I think, Mark.
That's a result of all that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of fisticuffs.
You're quite right there too, Mark. They're doing quite well with this Auto Pro Commodore. They're gradually coming to terms with it.
Well, that was, I have to say, the 3 of them did very well there, not to really get out of shape and bang. Yeah. Cameron McConville did well, mate.
Back at the front of the field, no change. Holden Racing Team running 1 and 2, but it's car 2 ahead of car 1. Scaife from Lowndes and Tander. Now Tander is close here, but it's so difficult to pass at Eastern Creek. That's the thing.
Yeah, I've seen it over the years. V8 Racing here, you do get a few big goes happening down at about turn 2, but for most of the track, you really are locked in.
You know what Russell Ingall said to me the other night? He said, you know what would be interesting is to run this circuit in reverse, because that would change the radius of the corners of this place a lot more and would open up, he believes, a lot more passing opportunities. So there's something to think about.
Garth Tander could be in a good position here if he can get a good run onto the straight, because he's got both the HRT cars, so he should get a really good drag. He needs to be a lot closer than that, and then there's a possibility of getting up the inside into turn 1. Now watch, no, he's not close enough.
So as they come across the start-finish line this time around, there are 2 laps remaining. A great shot from really the Goodyear blimp, isn't it? Fantastic as they go right down into turn 1. Now, for all your V8 Supercar information, why not jump on the net and check out the V8 Supercar website, v8supercar.com.au. It's got race results, a whole heap of information about the championship. And while you're on there, why don't you check out the 10 website as well? I think from memory there's a link there to the 10 website, but if not, 10.com.au. All the sorts of information on 10 programs. A big fest coming up tonight. A lot of Tom Cruise movies happening, and well, those of you watching last night would have checked out Barry Sheen on Good News Week.
Oh my God.
With a gap back to Paul Radisich now, 5.3 seconds. That leading trio are really monstering it. They go on board with the Rat, hard at the wheel, but just not fast enough here this weekend.
Yeah, it doesn't look as if Paul is holding up Russell, because if he was, Russell would definitely be making a bigger fuss than he is at the moment.
It's amazing how the times have pumped out too.
Yeah.
They started off at 1:33.2, the Scaife's fastest lap on lap 3. We're now at lap 11, and they're all running 1:34.6, 1:34.7. So times have pumped out by a second over this race distance.
Jump aboard with the Rat in the Shell Helix Racing Falcon, working towards turns 11 and 12. And quite a gap between himself and Garth Tander, who sits in third place. Radicic currently in fourth, making his way out of turns 11 and 12 and on to the 1 kilometre long main straight. In the AU Falcon, this is where they rev it right out and up to 6th gear. He will get the last lap board this time around. As they come across the start-finish line, the HRT duo flash across, and so too does Tander. 1 lap to go.
Oh, Tander's... he's going to struggle. I mean, basically, there really isn't anywhere there unless he can get on good onto the start and finish straight, or maybe downhill into the hairpin. But
look at him having a look here.
He's going to go everywhere, but it's so easy to stay in the middle of the road in this place.
And this is helping Mark Scaife immensely. There's now about a car length or two between these guys as they work towards turns 6 and 7 around the back of the Corporate Hill area here at Eastern Creek. No change in positions. Scaife holds command from Lowndes.
Very important round for Craig Lowndes too, because with those 2 failures in the car in the opening rounds of the championship, he's now 5th on points, about 162 points behind Tander, so he really has to start finishing every race if he's going to keep his championship chase alive.
Lowndes plays defensive, a bit of lap traffic coming into play here. Will it affect them between now and when they see the checkered flag? It's Scaife from Lowndes and Tander. Opportunities fast running out for our 23-year-old championship leader in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. Right now he sits in 3rd place. Lowndes plays again defensive, forcing Tander to do all the hard work onto the front straight for the final time. And this, I think, is how they'll finish. Scaife will take out race 1, checkered flag at the ready. Lowndes will finish 2nd. A great result for the Holden Racing team, 1 and 2, and a good job also by Garth Tander getting home in 3rd place. First of the boards home, Paul Radicic, so well done to the Kiwi. And then it's Russell Ingall, Glenn Seaton and John Bowe. That is how they finished in race 1 here at Eastern Creek. Another 2 13-lappers still set to come your way. A big day's racing, and the times, as Mark Osler pointed out, have been quite incredible. The best for Scaife was a 1:33.26. His last lap, to give you an idea, a 1:34.73. So during the course of that race, the times dropped off, and it'll be interesting to see, particularly in terms of tyre choice, just how things go in race 2 and race 3 here today at the Creek. Let's check out the Shell Helix race score for you at the end of race 1. Scaife and Lowndes from Tander, Radicic, Russell Ingall and Glenn Seaton. John Bowe up there as well in the Cat Racing Falcon, and Tony Longhurst round
Pole position of his teammate.
Green flag waved at the back of the grid. The revs rise from the awesome V8s as we get set for race 2 of round 4 of the Shell Championship Series. We're away, a great start by Lowndes. Radicic is through as well, and so too Tander. Scaife has been swallowed up off the start, and Radicic is through. Radicic has grabbed the lead. Brilliant start. Lowndes settles into 2nd place. That is a blinding start in the Shell Helix Falcon. A Ford leads at Eastern Creek from a Holden in the hands of Lowndes, and then we go back into 3rd place. Wow, what a start here.
Well, they're going to have to...
Oh, look at this now.
Look at this
Tander.
Oh, Tander.
Tander's made his way up as well. So Radicic under siege, and Tander's barged his way through into 2nd, forcing both the Holden Racing team Commodores further back.
Romano.
Problems there for Romano. Now down into turn 4. Well, what a real change of scenery here. Look at this. Morris and Larry Perkins.
Perkins and...
Well, I don't think
Morris.
Larry Perkins is going to be getting a Christmas card from Paul Morris or vice versa this year. Larry will be one unhappy camper about that.
So one of the Shell Fords there might be Steve Johnson pumping out a bit of smoke. There might be a tyre rubbing, but his teammate, the Rat, is on the attack. An unbelievable start to jump the Holden duo in front of him. Let's have a look at the Shell Helix replay.
So we jump aboard.
Oh, look at that. Just lighten her up and no traction.
Now watch how Radicic, look at that.
Perfect. Good move.
Just threading through the needle. Beautiful start. The Shell 40 really got the power down. Look at the gap.
Timed it to perfection. Now we're getting word through that John Faulkner, who was meant to be starting from pit lane, has in fact not even made his way out onto the circuit. He's missing from the grid, so we'll try and find out from Now, guys, in pit lane, just what's going on. You jump aboard the Shell Helix Falcon with the Rat, the race leader now. Look at the gap out the back of the Falcon. Back to the first of the Commodores. The Ford fans rejoice here at Eastern Creek because the Rat is leading and giving the Ford fans something to cheer about.
I tell you what, they were pretty flat after that race one. Just a mild cheer as the cars crossed the finish line. Now they're standing up out of their seats. They can't believe it. A Falcon is leading a V8 Supercar race. Long time between picks. Look at the battle for second between Tander and Craig Lowndes. Mark Skate, the pole position man, though, he suffered badly in that. He's back in fourth. The enforcer, Russell Ingall, in fifth. Then it's Seaton, Bow, Baird, Crompton, Longhurst.
Oh, this is Morris and Perkins. Have a look here. See, Morris really wasn't. There wasn't any room there, and basically he should have done it. So Perkins won't be happy about that. And he's not the bloke to get on the wrong side of our Larry, is he?
Well, what an amazing turnaround. The 37-year-old Kiwi, Paul Radicic, currently running third in the Shell Championship Series. Fastest Ford throughout qualifying. He had enormous oversteer in the car in the first heat. The team's obviously made some adjustments. Let's see if it's going to help him throughout the race. It's one thing to start well, but you've got to carry it right through the race.
John Faulkner in the Team Asia Online Commodore has rejoined the field, we're told. But right now, a Ford leading proceedings. Look at them streaming out of turn 9. One of the Kmart Commodores there, that's Murphy. Greg Murphy just hanging on to it out of turn 9. The Murph doing a sensational job. No doubt all the viewers watching through TV1 in New Zealand would be enjoying watching his progress at the moment because a Kiwi leads outright. Paul Radicic leads. Craig Baird the next best in 8th place, then it's Murph.
On board with Greg Murphy in the Kmart Castrol Commodore. And these Gibson Motorsport cars have really struggled. They continue to struggle in qualifying. They've got good race pace, but they just can't get any speed out of the cars when they're on green tyres, and that costs them dearly. They're always ending up right down the back of the field.
Especially in a place like this, because you've got no chance. I mean, if you're up the back, you know, to get through, there's literally nowhere to pass.
Well, Baz, this is why these cars are always so strong in the endurance races, because they've got enough track time to actually move up and make some positions. But in a sprint race, very, very difficult to recover from a lowly starting position.
Thomas Mazira in trouble.
Radicic now under attack from the Holdens. Keep in mind, Jason Barguano had to start off the back of the grid after bench steering in heat 1. He's up to 22nd. So the Valvoline Cummins driver on a real charge. Look how close they are now to the Shell Ford.
Bargs is getting some good practice, I think, for race 2 at Canberra, where we'll be starting off the back of the grid.
Bit of reverse grid practice for Barguano. Not the way he wanted to do it, but he's going to get plenty of experience if he's punching his way through the field. Now look how close they are. Craig Lowndes right up behind the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. Wow, we've got this leading trio. We've seen these two, Scaife, Lowndes and Tander, all over each other in the opening rounds of the championship. What we haven't seen is a Shell Falcon in front of them. It's a real turnaround for the books.
Be interesting to see top speed-wise down the front straight. Oh, this is Mazira. There he is.
Oh, that's with Rodney Forbes there.
Yes, was there bodily contact there?
Rodney Forbes in the wins Commodore. Well, now the attack continues. Can the Rat defend?
Keep a closed door coming up to the hairpin.
The Ford fans in the grandstand went crazy when they saw this man. Look at the conservative line he takes.
Tander.
See the conservative line he takes into turn 2 because he's got a Valvoline Cummins Commodore right up behind him. He's not giving that car a centimetre of space. And he's got every right to drive that defensive line as long as he's not weaving. Puts his car right in the middle of the circuit, make it very, very hard for the cars behind to pass. Radicic earned the wrath of a number of Commodore drivers as he's using these tactics at the Melbourne Grand Prix support races. But he's quite entitled to do what he's doing.
You see, Tander's looking at Radicic, but also he's got to keep his backside covered because Lowndes is right up his bolt as well. So it's difficult when you're trying to split your mind, thinking about what you're trying to do to the guy in front and also covering your rear.
You've got to give credit to Paul Radicic. He really has been the mainstay for the Ford Brigade so far this season, has been doing an absolutely tremendous job since we kicked off round 1 at Phillip Island, and this is what the fans want to see. A Ford out in front. The 37-year-old now resides, of course, on the Gold Coast. Former driver with the Ford factory team in the Super Touring Championship, twice a winner of the World Cup. That's your Munro profile on Paul Radicic, race leader here in race 2.
Well, 6 of the top 10 cars at the moment are Ford, so is the Blue Oval coming back, looking strong at the moment at Eastern Creek. Originally from Auckland, Paul Radicic 17th championship start. He's taken 1 pole position. That was at Symonds Plains, but he has not yet won a heat of the Shell Championship Series. Could this be the first one? Look how close Tander gets. Under brakes, a little kiss on the bumper as they come out of turn 2. Radicic is controlling the pace of this race.
Yeah, you remember last year we were saying we haven't seen the proper rat yet because he never seemed to get the late. Look at this. Look.
Tander having a look down the inside and trying to cover from Lowndes at the same time.
Well, Radicic is enormously experienced, 2 times World Cup Touring Car Champion, 3 times winner of the New Zealand Grand Prix. He's been a former factory driver for both Ford and Peugeot. He's a guy with enormous experience in 10 tops, and he will be relishing this challenge.
His best lap, a 1:34.31. Tander going quick though, a 1:33.88 was the best from Tander. As they make their way off the back of Corporate Hill, the shot from up high in the Goodyear blimp. Tander good under brakes down into turn 9. The 2 HRT Commodores close up as well. And this whole process is helping Ingle, exactly right.
Coming up.
Well, this just goes to show if Radicic is running a pace a little bit slower than the Commodores could run it, it doesn't matter. As long as he's got them boxed in, they can't do anything about it. Let's have a look at this replay.
Now, who's this? Paul Wheel on the outside there, Donaher, and looks like Greg Ritter.
Oh, Paul Wheel.
Paul Wheel, yep. And Ritter on the inside. So the officials are having a good look at that one later on. Meanwhile, back at the front, Paul Radicic under maximum pressure from the Holden attack. Look at them all. Commodores, 1 in a row. Tander, Lowndes, Scaife, Ingle, Seaton, the next of the Fords back in 6th. That's Bow, Baird and Crompton. A quartet of Falcons from 6th to 10th. So the Commodores, the meat and a Ford sandwich at Eastern Creek at the moment.
Got to take your hat off also to Dean Orr and the team and the Dick Johnson Racing outfit. They have worked incredibly hard on this car. They were scratching their head at the end of practice on Saturday when both Radicic and his teammate Stephen Johnson were languishing, and now look at Radicic leading the way.
Yeah, well, the times have pumped out at 1:35.03 for Radicic, so that's not running a bad pace. The Commodores toward the end of that first race are running in the mid-35, so it's not going that much slower. He's just getting a bit of a build-up behind him.
The point about it is, so the nature of the circuit, if he can just steer a middle course, you know, the danger zone is at the end of the straight here. If he gets sort of 2 or 3 up really close. But
yeah, he's just got to keep the car tight and accurate. It looks like it's behaving itself a lot better. An enormous amount of oversteer in Heat 1. That's the view from the Goodyear blimp looking down on Eastern Creek Raceway. Look at how hot and frustrated these Commodores are getting behind him. But Radicic equal to the task. So this has been a real turnaround in V8 Supercar in 2000. The Fords have been copping an absolute mauling in the opening rounds. Only taken 1 heat win. That was Craig Baird back at Phillip Island in the opening championship round. Since then, it's been an absolute drought.
But this here is a Ford fight back this afternoon in race 2. Look at Glenn Seaton making a move on Russell Ingle as well as we come down the main straight. Can Seaton pull it off? He's not close enough, so he won't do it. He tucks back in behind the enforcer. Glenn Seaton, who's enjoyed so much success around Eastern Creek in the past, particularly in the days of the Winfield Triple Challenge, sits at the moment in 6th place. There he is. John Bow just in behind him and Russell Ingle in front. Up in front, though, it is Paul Radicic getting a little sideways in the exit of turn 2. Tander in behind him, then Lowndes and Scaife, Russell Ingle, and this man, you ride in the Ford FTR Falcon of Glenn Seaton.
Absolutely crucial championship points on offer here too. Garth Tander still leading the championship. He's got a battle on his hands with a big Shell Ford in front.
Well, the action is hotting right up here with us here at Eastern Creek Raceway. A Ford out in front. When we left you, we were on lap 7. This is lap 8. Radicic leading the way from Tander and under all sorts of pressure. Look at this. Lowndes now applying the thumb screws as well, and Scaife is right there. A freight train of Holdens and Fords, line astern, heading towards turns 11 and 12. Radicic, the man under pressure and doing a sensational job withstanding it.
Well, I'll tell you what, this reminds you of that Grand Prix many years ago, back in 1981, when Gilles Villeneuve held them out, I think, fast down the straights. Here we go.
And this happened during the ad break.
Brilliant. Tander on the inside, but watch Radicic. This is Tander runs a bit wide. Radicic keeps it up on the inside, but you see Tander still on the proper side of the circuit to change direction. Now you see that's where he went in, run wide, and it was brilliant driving from Radicic. Well, both Tander and Radicic, it was great stuff.
Oh, look, Lowndes now.
Oh,
Look down inside.
Yes.
5 remaining in this one now. Lowndes has gotten through. Tander's gone.
Off. Oh, boy.
Now, how will that affect our championship leader? He gets back back on, but he's well down behind Greg Murphy. I think he's rejoined in about 14th position, so that has cost him. In fact, there's Brad Jones now.
Tyre, front left is flat. Oh, what a shame.
Well, this is what happens when you're chasing a championship. He's been Mr. Consistency so far, but it takes one little collision like that, and all of a sudden your race plan goes out the window. Garth Tander in serious trouble now. Flat tyre, he's got to limp it round to the pits. At the time, well, he's in the pits, he's going to start virtually from the back of the grid.
Now Lowndes having a look here, Mark, on the outside, down into turn 9.
Oh, no, Skate on the inside.
Skate's gotten through. So his teammate left the door open, and Skate pounced. So our race 1 winner has moved up to 2nd place. Things keep changing all the time here.
Look at that. Oh, well, it's...
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Well, it is. You know, it's unusually aggressive for Lowndes. To see right from the very beginning of it, that's what we need to do to sort of make any comment. But,
so the Valvoline Cummins car, 4 laps remaining for Paul Radisich, a fight for survival. He's now under attack from the Red Barons. Mark Scape and Craig Lowndes, Russell Engel back there in 4th position, Seaton, Bow, Baird, Crompton, Longhurst and Stephen Richards, but this is where the action is. Can Radisich hang on?
Oh, look, that's Tander. Oh, it's...
Well, Garth Tander, our championship leader. This is a chance for the Mobile Holden Racing team to close the gap on him in the points chase. Tander first, Skate second, Radisich third in points at the moment. But Radisich leading this one. Can he take his first Shell Championship Series victory? Ford fans around the track and around the country, no doubt holding their fingers, crossing their fingers, holding their breath.
Well, we know what Radisich is like in a fight. We've seen him enough times in the British Touring Car Series, so you know, they're going to struggle to get past him.
Well, he's come from
close here.
He's come from one of the toughest touring car championships in the world to another, and this is the toughest tin top battle in the world right now, and Radisich should be aware of it. There's Garth Tander trying to do a quick tyre change. Look at Radisich going right down the inside line.
Russell having a look as well. Now Radisich exits turn 9, gets good power down to the ground, considering what he told you before, Mark. He said that he was driving speedway style around here, having trouble towards the end of race 1 rather, but not at the ending or closing stages of race 2. So at the moment, Radisich leads from Scape, and Scape under pressure again from his teammate Lowndes on the exit of 12 and onto the 1 kilometre long main straight.
If you look at Radisich's car, it doesn't look like it's sort of tail happy at the moment. Now, you know, it's looking really good.
No, the boys have made the changes to whatever was required. Garth Tander, we've heard from the pits, is out of the race, so that's a big points drop for the 23-year-old West Australian. There's Larry Perkins, who went out earlier. Tander may rejoin, we hear, but he's going to be right out of the running. This is where it's happening. Paul Radisich under maximum fire from the Holden Racing team. Mark Scape in second, Craig Lowndes, Russell Engel in third. But this is very good driving by Radisich. He's using the power of the Ford to get ahead on the straights. He might be a little bit slower through the corners, but doesn't matter.
Lowndes.
Oh, I don't think... Oh. Lowndes is really aggressive at the moment, there's no doubt.
Yeah, but Radisich has got good speed around the back of the corner. When these 2 or 3 cars are tussling with each other, it gives him a 2 or 3 car break, and that's what he needs.
Ingles there as well. Look at him right in the back of Lowndes now, as they exit the back of the Corporate Hill area. So the Castrol Commodore going quite well in 4th place. The Enforcer been a model of consistency today.
Well, Radisich is wise to that challenge down the inside. If he leaves even a centimetre of space, Scape's going to stuff the nose of his car up there. So Radisich is driving a very, very conservative defensive line, and he's doing it brilliantly.
What a great series this is now. I mean, it's so competitive.
Well, you just never know, do you, Baz?
Yeah.
The first heat was a bit of a yawn, and the second one's absolutely a cracker. Alive.
There's Craig Baird, second of the Kiwis in the top 10, if you like. He currently sits in 7th place, but a Kiwi leads, Paul Radisich. And now Seaton trying to have a look at Russell Engel again. He's not close enough as they come across the start-finish line. 2 to go. 2 to go as we jump aboard the FTR Falcon through the sweeping left-hander. 5th gear through here in the Fords, in excess of 200 k's an hour. Then it's hard on the brakes down into turn 2. For this double apex left-hander, they have 2 real bites at it here, a very late apex on it. Now working toward turn 4, you can see Seaton working away.
See the way he short shifts there too. He goes 3rd, 4th very quickly to use the maximum torque of the engine, so he's not frying up the tyres coming out of that corner. He's doing well at the moment. He's up behind this Commodore bunch, but there's nothing he can do about it. Radicic equal to the task.
It's Cameron. It just looks like the rear end locked up on coming into there.
Well, this one's not over yet. Looks like Radicic's car a little bit taily coming out under power through those corners. Let's see if he can hang on by his fingernails. It really would be a turn up for the series. It's been absolute hold and domination so far. Can Paul Radicic hang on?
Well, bear in mind, Radicic has never won a race in the championship. He has won races, of course, in the supports to the Honda Indy, but never won a championship race. Don't forget, folks, lots of action coming your way right here on your home of motorsport. Round 2 of the Konica V8 Lights is at Phillip Island. Make sure you get there the 6th and 7th of May, and if you don't, you can catch all the action a week later, of course, on trackside. Round 5 of the Shell Championship Series. We're off to Hidden Valley in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to going north between 3 and 5 on the 21st of May. 1 lap to go for Paul Radicic. Can he pull it off? His first ever race win in the Shell Championship Series, as I mentioned before. He's done it in the supports to Honda Indy. Took 3 from 3 there, I think it was last year, but has never done it in this series, and he'll be desperately looking to do it.
Unless he outbrakes himself somewhere, I can't see that that Scafie's going to get past him, because it keeps it nice and tight in everywhere. There's only possibility of outbreaking himself is down into the hairpin, so he's looking good. I mean, he's very quick through this slot.
The car looking very smart on the road, Baz. He's not doing anything wrong at all. Paul Radicic. The car looking just perfect. At the end of this second race, we go up high with the Goodyear blimp. And Radicic, who was complaining about having dramas at the end of race 1 when he was talking to Mark Osler, well, he's turned it all around in race 2. Now, only a couple of corners left to go, Baz.
Well, it's just, I can't see any way. Oh! I can't see any way Scafie's going to do it, because there's no... If he keeps it nice and tight in on the double left-hander onto the start and finish, horsepower-wise, the Ford's equally as good as the Holden you saw, top speed-wise, so... any kind of luck, it's going to be the #1 for the Rat, his first ever win.
The Ford fans in the grandstand are already on their feet, because this is going to be Paul Radicic's first victory in the Shell Championship Series. He takes out race 2 of round 4 of the Shell Championship Series at the Creek. Well done to the Kiwi. There's his wife and all the team. They are delighted with that. Scape home second, Craig Lowndes third, Russell Ingall the enforcer fourth, and Glenn Seaton fifth. Well,
I bet they're also at last.
Take him out, Paul Radicic. You've done Ford and New Zealand proud. That's a great result.
That was good. That was a really good drive. Excellent. And you saw how quick his reactions were. DJ's got a tear in his eye. Now that's an unusual sight.
Now that's the first race win for Dick Johnson Racing since Malala in 1998. So you saw team owner Dick Johnson looking on there a few moments ago. A much needed win for the Shell Helix Racing outfit, who are extremely professional, and a big congratulations also to team manager Dean Orr and all the boys. They've done a sensational job. Paul Radicic takes victory in race 2 here at the Creek. Mark Scape home second, Lowndes third, Russell Ingall hanging on a good consistent effort for fourth. Then it's Seaton, Bow, Craig Baird and Tony Longhurst. They are your top.
Well, what a difference one race can make. Paul Radicic in all sorts of trouble in Heat 1, but really got the car going for Heat 2. First win in the championship. What a brilliant drive.
Mate, it's great to break the duck. To win a championship round is great. It was all in the start. I got a magnificent start, and it was just a matter of staying cool and not worrying about the guys behind too much, and they were squabbling amongst themselves, and gave me that probably about 1,000th break.
That's all you need in this formula. Dick Johnson, you must be very, very happy.
Well, it's been a long time coming, Mark. I tell you what, Paul drove fantastic. It's just one of those situations, if you get a good start, and that's what these short races are all about, is qualifying well and getting a good start, and he certainly got a good start and capitalised on it from there.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Joining us now, a very special guest who these days is based stateside, but he's no stranger to the V8 Supercar circus. Jason Bright, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
Now, some good news for you. A big announcement during the course of the week about a drive in a champ car.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic news for not only for me but for Australian motorsport. Now that we've got a representative, you know, on international motorsport again. So, yeah, it's great. You know, I'll get my miles in the Champ car hopefully through a lot of testing, and we're trying to do a deal to run an extra couple of races before the Honda Indy, so as I'm not coming in and being thrown in the deep end on the Gold Coast.
Good luck with that. And how are things going in the Dayton Indy Lights Series? A great start for you at Long Beach.
Yeah, so far so good. You know, we've got a good team. I'm sure we'll get stronger as the year goes on. You know, we still haven't done a lot of test days, and you know, a lot of the guys we're racing against have been to all these tracks before. So we're just going to get stronger and stronger as the year goes on, I'm sure.
Keep it up, mate, and you're doing Australia proud. Well done.
Thanks, Greg.
There he is, Jason Bright, folks, and a chance for you at home now to win.
Well, it's been a pretty tough year, really. I mean, we sort of came in here and really expected to do a little better than we have. It's very tough. V8 Supercars is a tough category. You don't get a lot of testing, and once you get a race meeting, it's pretty full on right from the bounce of the ball, so we've struggled a bit so far.
Adelaide was a major.
Well, it was a major. I mean, it was a very unfortunate thing, really. It was a pretty tough day at the office, and you know, I don't think the tyres on the outside of the circuit were a great help to me. And once I got in there, I clipped the inside of the curb a bit and shot me off into the tyres on the outside and pulled the wheel off the car straight away, and then dropped on its nose and flipped over and spun around on its lid a little bit. So it wasn't much fun.
Yeah, the guys did a brilliant job repairing it, didn't they?
Well, they did. It was a lot of work to be done to the car. The front of the car was down and the roll bars were in a little bit, and the rear of the car was all bent, so it was really quite a nasty accident. They've done a fantastic job to get it ready. They've worked all nights and days and all over Easter to get it back to the position that we're in now, and it looks fantastic, and it's, you know, as good if not better. I mean, we were right on schedule, and we got to do a day's testing before we came here, so they did an unbelievably good job for us.
And was it much out of line, or was it really twisted?
There was a fair bit of damage, yeah. Every panel on the car was damaged. The only thing we repaired, I think, was the rear bumper bar. So, you know, there was just a lot of work to be done to the car. So, as I said, they did a fantastic job to get it ready.
Good thing about it is, you know, Bradley, you can read the Aussie Mail sign really well when it's upside down. I see now you've got it on the wing mirror, and at the back you've got a this way up sign. Yeah,
it just goes to show that the team really hasn't lost their sense of humour too much through all the grief we've had. But Aussie Mail have been fantastic, and they got some great coverage on the news and such. Not quite the coverage I'd like to give them, but they're a fantastic company. It's their first year in the sport, and they've been really, really good with their support for us.
Well, it's great, you know, as it is, it's so competitive, you know, and for somebody to be in the top 20, it's a massive achievement at the moment, isn't it?
It is, and really that's our goal. You know, we need to get in the 20 regularly, so let's see what happens today.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Prix in the V8s, a win to Ford and a win to Holden. Who will do it in race 3 here today? Radicic sits on pole alongside Sky.
Radicic, great start.
Look at Ingle. Lowndes. There's been contact between those two, but Ingle's gotten through there. Lowndes, I think, will have the better run into turn 1, and Radicic has already cleared out of there. Look at these two side by side, the Castrol Commodore and the Mobile Commodore. Lowndes will have the race. There's been a spinner. Mark Warner's involved there. That's a big one.
Major one.
Now it looks like Thomas Mazira's involved in that as well. We'll get a closer shot. That is Jason Barkwana, Stephen Ellery.
Well, Ellery copped a fine after that contact with Steve Reed earlier on, so he hasn't had a good day. This is the lead, but we may have a red flag situation if they don't get those wrecks cleared away. For Radicic, though, making a brilliant start in Heat 3. And Russell Engel absolutely fired out of the second row to get into third position. Skate right over the edge of the asphalt. Drops the wheels onto the dirt. He wants to get past this Shell Ford as fast as possible. So Craig Lowndes right up behind the Shell Falcon. Mark Skate, see earlier on, just dropping a wheel off the asphalt. Lowndes doing it too. Here's the points after 2 heats of round 4. Skate leading at the moment, Radicic behind. But if Radicic wins this one and Skate comes seconds, Radicic will win the day on countback. So an important day for Ford. Can Radicic stand on the top level of the podium this afternoon? Craig Lowndes is going to make sure he does it.
I'm just looking at the starter. It looks like there's something going on, a bit of talking on the starter's
Look at this. Look at this. Yep, Craig Lowndes having a look. Radicic shuts the door as they come down the front straight. The crowd are on their feet. A Ford leads from a Holden. Radicic from Lowndes. Then it's Russell Engel in 3rd place. And Mark Skate in 4th as they sweep through turn 1 for the second time. Look at the mess.
Yeah, that really upset balance of Radicic's car there.
260 kilometres an hour on the approach to turn 1. Then they get hard on the brakes down through turn 2. Radicic defending strongly from Lowndes, gets really sideways under power coming out of turn 2. Keep in mind these guys are on second-hand tyres. This is looking out the back of Paul Radicic's car, Baz.
Yeah, it's Scafie there, you see. That's look at Ingle. I thought Ingle was going to go into Lowndes. Oh, he did actually touch him. I thought he did, but amazing. Yeah, it's Scafie. I don't know what he did. He just bad luck job. Let's have a look here. Just see where you can. Oh boy, that looked like Stephen Ellery touched the back of Jason Bargwanna. Was the start of it, and then
Paul Wheel taking evasive action.
Yeah.
Todd Kelly, all of them. Look,
amazing that there wasn't more people who. Oh, look at this.
Have a look at this from another angle.
Oh, touch there.
Here we are. Now, all the mayhem breaks loose here. Look at the cars going every which direction.
It's amazing there weren't more involved in there. So well, more stopped, to put it that way.
So the Rat is on the attack at Eastern Creek this afternoon. Winner of Heat 2. Brilliant start. Heat 3. He's got Craig Lowndes boxed in behind him. Important round for the reigning champion. He needs points here this afternoon.
Look at
how
Lowndes.
he gets.
Lowndes is pumped up now, sideways at the exit of turn 12. He is really having a go. Craig Lowndes, the defending champion, down the front straight they come, but that has cost him on the exit of turn 12.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Lowndes try as hard as this. He's really, really tried hard.
Well, the thing is, Dick Johnson cars, they're famous for their horsepower. Radicic is really using that to advantage, particularly when he just comes out of turn 12 onto the main straight. That first 150, 200 metres, he's just got a little bit more squirt in the Commodore, and he uses that to maximum advantage. That's how he's holding him in.
He's pretty quick through this section, though. If you look at Radicic here, across the top of this, and then into the right-hander, he was really quick.
Oh, look down the inside by Lowndes, filling the mirrors of the Shell 18 Ford. Stephen Ellery, we hear from the pits, has retired after that altercation with Jason Bargwanna, so it's been a bad day for the Super Chief Autos team.
Well, these two continue to battle away around the back of Corporate Hill. A great shot as we go up high from the Goodyear blimp. You can see Lowndes all over the back of the Shell Helix Ford, a Ford leading from a Holden, and Russell Ingall sits in third place, the enforcer. What a day he's had, and hoping for a mistake from either of these two to try and move forward. Lowndes an outside run, possibly trying to snap back, a touch, yep. Possibly trying to switch back on him on the exit of turn 9. He can't do it, and again, the Ford gets the power to the ground nicely.
Yeah, it does. Just you can see there, still the black smoke coming out of it. They've got to run it about as rich as she'll go as they can. Oh yes!
Radicic is gone.
Wow.
Radicic is gone.
I tell you, this is a very un-Lowndes-like day to me. It's that says it all.
Well, under the driver etiquette rules, you've got to be alongside the B pillar, but there's a challenge now. Russell Ingall takes advantage of that, coming together to shoot through to the lead. Here from the pits, they're telling Paul to try and keep going, but I think he might have backed it
Now,
out. Sandtrap.
Skate's coming for a run here too, Mark, and so Seaton down into turn 2. Look at Lowndes trying to fight back past Ingall.
Well, there's Paul Radicic getting back into the action, but the officials are going to looking very closely at
there's no doubt about that.
How far Craig Lowndes was under Paul Radicic. Let's have a look at this. He's got to be alongside the B pillar.
Right.
For this to be considered Lowndes' corner. Let's have a look. Oh, wow.
Well, the problem is, though, Mark, there's no, there was no way that Radicic couldn't turn into the corner. He was turning in. He was committed. And there's nothing really you can do about it.
Well, a very disappointed Dick Johnson. The highest of highs, the lowest of lows. Winning Heat 2, yeah, incredible.
Garth Tander, for those of you following the progress of our championship leader coming into this round, has moved up to 20th from 33rd spot on the grid. But now, after what's been a torrid year for the enforcer, he is leading the pack. 3 Holdens up in front. Ingall tucked in behind him, the Holden Racing Team duo. Lowndes ahead of teammate Scaife, and then Glenn Seaton having a sniff at things. Oh, look at Lowndes sideways. Turn 12, Scaife's got him. Mark Scaife's got him. There'll be a drag race between these two. You can forget it. Seaton coming for the run too. 3 wide. The crowd stand on their feet here at Eastern Creek as Seaton gets through on Lowndes. Lowndes has gone from 2nd place to 4th in the blink of an eye. Scaife through to 2nd place now. Russell leads. Lowndes has gone back to 4th place because Seaton is up to 3rd. Look at Longhurst now. John Bow coming to the right, and so too Craig Bear.
Oh, what a race. I don't know whether Lowndes must have some problem because he's just going backwards at a rapid rate of knots.
Yeah, he just had a big tank slapper coming through that corner, and he's just been slowing right down. He's still in the queue, but he's lost a ton of positions. Wonder if that Might have been as a result of that contact with Paul Radicic. Well, won't know, but he's really struggling. He's gone right back into the order. So this puts Mark Scape in a very strong championship position now. He's only got Russell Engel up ahead of him. He's currently sitting second in points behind Garth Tander. Tander's way down the order. This could be a very crucial day in this championship for Mark Scape.
Wow, what a day so far. What looked like a processional opening race has been followed by a sensational second one, which Radicic won. And we're only 5 laps into this one, and it's looking like an absolute ripper. You're right, with Glenn Seaton in 4th place. This is the Ford car camera.
That's the great thing about having an open face helmet. You can see all the expressions, everything going on in the head of Glenn Seaton.
It just cracks me up when I look at Glenn when he's chewing his straw.
Yeah, he really talks his way around the track too. Quite often you catch him on the in-car camera, he's going, come on, come on, come on.
Oh, it looks smoke. What was that?
Oh, I think it's just... No, he's all right, he's got his head down. He's in the cars, blow a fair bit of smoke when they're... Something... Be clear and simple. On-board telemetry with Glenn Seaton. Road speed on the left of your screen, engine revolutions on the right.
It's really interesting to see Glenn's face going into that fast left-hander after the start finish. That is a very, very quick corner, and it's enough to get anybody's attention.
Up to 3rd, then bang, 4th. He just shift up to 4th so that he's not stuck trying to shift gears right in the middle of that turn. And you can see the Baz there, the puffs of smoke from that engine as he shifts gears. Just something to do with the engine management program they're running in that engine. As the car's looking strong here at Eastern Creek this afternoon. He's had a good consistent run all day. Now he finds himself
Romano
in 3rd position. So as we saw at Adelaide, a rebirth for FTR. Glenn Seaton set on this new Bridgestone control tyre. His car responded very well to it, and he's continued that form at Eastern Creek this afternoon, right in there in the battle for the lead.
Hasn't been the weekend for the Optus Commodores. We saw before the start of this race that Steve Reed was out with engine problems. Now we hear from the pits that his teammate Trevor Ashby is also out of this one after some sort of altercation with Rodney Forbes. Back at the front, you watch Seaton sitting in 3rd place. Scape ahead of him, and Russell Engel leading the way in the Castrol Commodore.
Yeah, there's a lot of smoke coming out of Seaton's car. It just really, not only the sort of burnt fuel and that, but it's can't make out what's going on there. Get another shot of it, you'll see.
As Seaton looks up in his mirrors, that's looking out the back of the FTR Falcon. Tony Longhurst in 3rd position. John in 4th position, I should say, behind 3rd. John Bow in 5th. Craig Baird in 6th. Craig Lowndes in 7th. Neil Crompton in 8th. Stephen Richards in 9th. And Greg Murphy in 10th. So the 2 Kmart Commodores in the top 10.
Yeah, good to see them coming good towards the end of the day. 2 to keep an eye out for as well. Stone Brothers Racing. Tony Longhurst in 4th place. Craig Baird now up to 6th. We were talking to Ross Stone the other day, and he was saying that they were looking for good things here, and it's looking good for them at the moment. On track, temperature around 35 degrees, so it's hot here at the creek, and it's hot on the track as well. Russell Engel leads the way in the Castrol Commodore from Mark Scape. We are on lap 8 of 13 in the 3rd and final race of the 4th round of the Shell Championship Series. And what a day it's been.
If Russell can pull this off, it'll be a popular win. No doubt about that.
Well, he certainly needs a boost in his points. He's currently 11th in the championship standings with only 194 points to Garth Tander's 422 coming into this round, so he's got a massive points deficit. Garth Tander, meanwhile, is up to 16th position. Our championship leader, he started from 33rd on the grid after that steering rack breakage after colliding with Craig Lowndes. So he's up to 16th, so every point vital as he climbs his way back toward the top.
Neil's up in 8th place, Neil Crompton, so very pleased with that.
Ned Crompton there in 8th position. But that's a real disappointment seeing Radicic go out. It's making it a very exciting afternoon.
Hasn't been a good weekend for the Greenfield Mowers outfit either. Cameron McLean in pit lane there. As we watch Craig Lowndes, the defending champion, just ahead of Neil Crompton. We were saying before the break there about the performance of the Stones Brothers Racing outfit. Baird currently sits in 6th place. Top Kiwi at the moment as well. And, of course, just ahead of him 2 places, Tony Longhurst sits in 4th. Ross Stone was talking to us prior to this round, and he said they've taken a few radical moves. They've minimised the boys' media commitments this weekend and told them to really focus on the job. And the poor old girls, even the wives have been told they've got to stay home. They've got to concentrate on racing this weekend.
The poor old girls, I'm sure they'd love to be called that. That's great, so far for Longhurst. That's the closest it's been to the front for a long time.
So a very closely knit bunch, that leading quartet. That's 1.6 seconds. Back to John Bowe. So Glenn Seaton, the highest place forward. Tony Longhurst, John Bowe.
Oh, dear.
Not again.
Now, we need to have another look at that.
Wow.
I can't believe this.
Craig Lowndes has been involved in a few incidents today, hasn't he?
Wow, really? It's
That's the third collision he's been involved in.
There's damage to the front right there, Mark, or front left, I should say, on Baird's car, so that'll put him out, I'd say.
Gee, it's been a long time since you've seen Craig Lowndes involved in this many incidents, I've got to say.
Just said in the first, I haven't seen him drive so aggressively ever. You know, so I really haven't. It's going to be interesting. I bet the old stewards are rubbing their hands in delight.
So Craig Lowndes, a bit further back in the order, knows it's a critical round.
Let's have a look. Watch. I don't think.
No,
I have to say there was. I'm pretty sure there was no touch there.
Pretty sure.
Looked just like Craig lost the back end.
Yeah, it looked like Baird lost it, and unfortunately Craig was involved. But, geez, Craig's been. That's the third incident he's been involved in today. He's really been.
Yeah. But that, I'm pretty sure he didn't touch him there.
No, it didn't look like it. So he's really been in the wars. Plenty of pedal rubbing. Craig Baird out of the car. Very disappointed too, I'd say. 4 laps remaining for our race leader. Baird was running in 6th position. His strongest performance really since Phillip Island, the opening round. This will be a big lift for Russell Ingall. Leading currently 11th in the point standings. His championship chase has taken a real battering so far. So any points he can get here is going to be very valuable to him later in the season.
Well, when you consider on the first practice, the first day, Mark, he was 25th. So he's done a lot of work, and it's obviously come up with the right answers.
Well, he was just saying how frustrating it was, because he said it's just checks the drive of the other cars coming out of the corners. There's only a car length in it, but he just can't find whatever it is in the chassis to make up that little deficit. Well, the car seems to be running pretty well now.
Fans of the Enforcer are going to be happy with this one. If he can pull it off and win this one, it'll be his first victory since he and Larry Perkins co-drove to the win at the Queensland 500 last year. So a long time between drinks for the Enforcer. And right now he leads the way from Scaife and Seaton. Incidentally, Russell Ingall, a big fan of the Darwin circuit, and that's where we're heading very, very soon for the next round of the championship, round 5. So looking forward to going north. And then how much interest is there for the GMC 400 in Canberra on the June long weekend? A lot of interest from both Melbourne and Sydney. People keen to travel up and down the eastern seaboard for that one. If you haven't already booked your accommodation, get in early.
Well, look at that. Garth Tander, 11th in the order. 3 laps remaining. Garth Tander is now almost inside the top 10. He started from 33rd on the grid. The championship leader is really fighting here this afternoon.
That's amazing. That's
incredible.
Oh, he's up to 10th now.
Yep, 10th position for Tander. So after that rotten luck in heat 2, new steering rack attached, he's absolutely been charging.
Kmart Commodores as well, coming good towards the end of the day. Greg Murphy up to 7th now, the top Kiwi. And Stephen Richards in 9th, just ahead of Garth Tander, so we'll keep an eye on. There's the Murph. Brad Jones in behind him now. There's Stevie. There is Garth Tander.
That's amazing. That's a really good drive.
That is incredible.
Oh, it's Larry.
23 positions he's made up since the start. This is only a short sprint race. So the Valvoline Cummins car really flying, and this is good, mature driving from our championship leader.
There's not even a mark on the car.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's very, very... You remember when he had that bit of a sort of a coming together at the Melbourne Grand Prix race a couple of years ago. He got a lot of shrapnel for that.
He went through that real patch, didn't he? There was a series of crashes. The guy was labelled a whole heap of things for his driving style after winning the Formula 4 Championship and stepping up into V8 Supercars. And this year, and in particular last year, he really came of age. I think he came of age at this circuit, in fact. And now doing good things in race 3 today, a storming drive from the back of the grid and doing it cleanly.
If Mark Scaife stays where he is, and Tander can pick up 2 more positions, that'll make them equal on points. Can you imagine that going into Hidden Valley? Tander and Scaife tied on points. If Tander can pick up 2 more positions, 2 laps remaining, he's running out of time to do it. Oh, a look down the inside.
Word through from the pits is that the Holden Racing team are talking to Mark to Mark Skate, that is, to try and keep it cool in the run towards the finish. He currently sits in second place, and they've told him to try and work on the bars inside the car, the anti-roll bars, to try and make sure they get the optimum setup out of the car and nurse those tyres all the way to the finish.
You look at Brad Jones's car, it's definitely, you see how much he pulled out of the KY car there?
Yeah, they have made some changes to that car since that crash, and Brad's been very happy with it. This is the best performance so far by this team.
It's actually nice to see him smoling again for a change.
Nice to see it the right way up as well, isn't it?
But they're doing this on merit. I mean, this is the battle for the top 10. They're in 8th position, fending off Stephen Richards and Garth Tander. So, oh, look at Tander up the inside of Stephen Richards. He's got it.
Perfect, yeah.
Oh, has he?
Oh, he's got a...
This is what Brad Jones is seeing out of his rearview mirror.
Stevie's not an easy customer to get by either.
So Tander ducks in behind. He's done such a good job getting up to where he is. It'd be terrible if he threw it away late in the race. Larry Perkins into the pits.
Wasn't that the extremes? Russell Ingall leading the way, and teammate Larry Perkins, problems in the pits. They will get the last lap board this time around as they come down the 1 kilometre long main straight. Russell Ingall has seen it. He's on his way home. Can the Enforcer do it and take his first win of the 2000 season and his first win since the Queensland 500 last year? There'll be a lot of fans who'll be hoping for that.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. It's, unless he outbreaks himself somewhere, he's got it in the bag, isn't it? It's a great driver. It's nice to see him get a good result, because they've been struggling.
Well, if he does bring it home, that'll be 3 different winners from the 3 heats here this afternoon. And first time in a long time, yeah.
And statistician Nigel will be going into overdrive trying to work all that out.
I have to say, the first race, you thought, oh dear, well, we've had 2 Brahmas, haven't we, since then? Really good.
Good performance from Tony Longhurst in the Caltex Haviland car. He's up in 4th position. That'll be his best result too, driving for the second of the Stone Brothers Falcons. And there's the shot from the Goodyear blimp that's been over the track all day, giving us some wonderful pictures. And there's our race leader, Russell Ingall, coming through turn 9. Only 3 more turns to go on a straight before he can bring this one home. That'll be a huge relief for the Enforcer. Had a terrible start to season 2000. Can he turn it around before we get to November?
A good result also for Tony Longhurst, who currently sits in 4th place, and Glenn Seaton 3rd in the FTR Falcon. If they finish the way they currently stand, the Enforcer brings it onto the straight for the final time. He flashes the lights to the crowd. The resurgent Russell Ingall will take victory in race 3 here at Eastern Creek. Well done in the Castrol Commodore, and well done to the Larry Perkins Racing outfit. They would be delighted with that. Perkins Racing, there's Oscar and the boys. They worked very hard all weekend, and a mixed bag of results when you consider that poor old Larry's down in the pits with problems. Scapey in 2nd place, Glenn Seaton in 3rd, Tony Longhurst 4th, and John Bow rounds out your top 5.
Yeah, Garth didn't make it past Brad Jones or Stephen Richards, but it's a good drive, amazing drive.
Well, that is the first time since Calder last year that we have had 3 different race winners at a round of the Shell Championship Series. Russell Ingall takes out the 3rd one from Scape, Seaton, Tony Longhurst, John Bow, Neil Crompton, a great drive up into 6th. Brad Jones, well done, finishing in 9th place, and Mark Larkham in 11th. Today reads 1 to Ford, 2 to Holden, and that is the reason why Radicic, hoping to repeat his race 2 victory in the 3rd of the day, came horribly unstuck. Russell Ingall went on to win from Mark Scape and Glenn Seaton. A good drive by Tony Longhurst to finish 4th. And what about Garth Tander off the rear of the grid, finishing in 10th position? Paul Radicic ended up recovering to finish 22nd. Right now, though, Mark Osler is on the podium.
Well, for the first time in a long time, we've seen 3 different heat winners from 3 different races. Fantastic Ford versus Holden entertainment at Eastern Creek this afternoon. Holden still dominant, but Ford showing they're still a force to be reckoned with in season 2000. Well, in 3rd place today, good strong performance from the Ford Tipgood Racing team. Put your hands together for Glenn Seaton. Congratulations. This is very, very hard work, isn't it? But being up on the podium, it shows you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, Mark, especially after Wanneroo, we sort of lost the plot a bit, and we came back at Adelaide and also came back this weekend. So it's great to be up here. It's been a long while since I've been up here, that's for sure.
Thanks, Glenn Seaton. Put your hands together, folks. 3rd place today. We go to Hidden Valley. The Fords hopefully will be stronger there too. 2nd place today. Well, it's been a long time. It's been a pretty tough start to season 2000 for the Enforcer, but he's doing the right thing at Eastern Creek this afternoon. Put your hands together for Heat 3 winner, Russell Ingall. There's a few bees there. You're the bloke some of them to hate, aren't you?
Oh, we like the bees. More bees, come on. Hey, look, that's it, thanks. We're just real happy to win a race, you know. It's been a long while between drinks, and I'm glad we're sort of making a bit of headway with the car, so roll on, Darwin.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you like that place up there, and traditionally you've done well.
Yeah, we've had a win in a couple of seconds, and we've gone really well, so I just want to get back up there, try and get back up that championship.
Put your hands together, folks, for the enforcer, Russell Ingall. Still very much a force to be reckoned with in 2000. Right now, I'd like to call on Charlotte Gould, the communications manager for Shell Australia, to make the presentation to our overall winner. Boy, he's looking strong in this championship, isn't he? Mark Scaife. I think there's a few disappointed Ford fans up there.
Well, obviously today they've done a great job. I mean, Paul Radicic won the second race, and Glenn was very strong in that last race. I mean, we had nothing left, and I mean, it's good that the series is like that. I mean, it's really tough, and there's got a good driver, a good team.
Bit of a contact there between Lowndesy and Paul at the top of the circuit. Just shows how tough it was.
I had a little tear in the corner of my eye there, Mark. You could tell. I mean, it was one of those things. It was. I thought Craig was up far enough to be his corner, but Paul was struggling to get into that corner all day, and it was a pretty. I mean, I thought the move was the right move. And the straight line speed that Ford's got, you needed to get him there so that he didn't hose you off down the straight. So it was a really good day.
Congratulations, Mark Scaife. Put your hands together, folks. The winner of round 4 at Eastern Creek Raceway.
And the good news continues for Scaife as well, because the tide has turned. Garth Tander has been leading the series since the opener in Phillip Island. Now Scaife leads by just 4 points over Tander. Paul Radicic sits in third on 395 points despite that problem today. Jason Bargwanna back there in 11th. Russell Ingall, some good news for him. He started the day in 11th place in the championship, but has now moved up the order, which is fantastic for him. Well, Barry Sheehan, it's been an absolutely unbelievable day here, hasn't it?
Well, incredible. I thought the first race, oh, well, business as usual. And we've had 2 of the best races, I think. Feel a bit sorry for Radicic, feel a bit sorry for Tander. It's been an unusual day for Craig Lowndes. It'll be interesting to see whether the officials have anything to say. But we're looking forward to Northern Territory. Neither of us 2 have ever been there, so we're looking forward to it.
You haven't been there in 3 years,
No,
so I'm looking forward. This is my first crack at it. We've got plenty of action coming your way right here on your home of motorsport. Coming up, round 4 of the Kart World Series from Brazil. That is going to be a ripper. Catch all the action with Billy and Neil Crompton tomorrow night from 11:30. But of course, as always, check your local guides there. Coming up, round 2 of the Konica V8 Lights. That is happening at Phillip Island on the 6th and 7th of May. And if you can't get there, check our action here on trackside a week later. You won't miss a moment of it, I promise you that. And also the Shell Championship Series. Barry and I will be making our debut up there for Hidden Valley, but it's going to be a beauty. Look forward to going north on the 21st of May between 3 and 5. Of course, check your local guides. It's been a terrific day here at Eastern Creek. We trust you've enjoyed all the action. Bye for now.